Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And we're going to talk about everything that happened yesterday with Charlie Kirk. Every line on the board is lit, so if you're on hold, you're going to have to stand by because there's some things I want to say. And I will take calls after that. But I will tell you this. I am not talking to any of these psychotic, demonic liberals who are saying these terrible, disgusting things. Not only do I have a zero tolerance rule, if you do say these demonic things that I've been hearing people say on social media, I will ban you from calling this program for life. I want to say a couple things about Charlie Kirk. And when this was going on yesterday, I did a live stream on YouTube. And I said what I'm going to tell you now, and I've been up all night. I did another live stream on YouTube at like 2 a.m., 2:30 in the morning. And when I woke up this morning, I just couldn't take it anymore. I watched last night Laura Ingraham and the beginning of Jesse Waters, and I couldn't watch it anymore. And I went to sleep, and I woke up, I don't know, midnight, 12:30, 1 a.m., I don't know. And the first thing I did, I woke up, I'm in bed, I reached over and grabbed my iPhone, and I checked the Daily Mail out of England. And the reason I went to the Daily Mail, they cover the American news, but because they're 5 hours ahead of us in London, a lot of times when there's breaking news, their news is a little bit faster in the early hours of the morning because it's 2 a.m. here, but it's 7 a.m. in London. And still they don't have the assassin. And this is what I said before we knew for sure that Charlie Kirk was gone yesterday. The same people that killed President Kennedy, the same people that killed Senator Bobby Kennedy, this is just my opinion, okay? The same people that killed Martin Luther King, the same people who shot President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, and tried to do it again at the golf course here in Florida, are the same people that assassinated Charlie Kirk yesterday. In my opinion. I've talked a lot about the significance of Charlie Kirk and the importance of Charlie Kirk for a long time. And second only to President Trump, Charlie Kirk is, and notice I say is, not was, Charlie Kirk is the most influential conservative MAGA person in this country, second only to the president. And Turning Point USA is, and I've talked about this with President Trump, about President Trump and the MAGA movement. Turning Point USA isn't a conservative activist organization like the Christian Coalition was or some other group. The MAGA movement and Turning Point USA, which is a part of the MAGA movement, is a civil rights organization. Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader, like Martin Luther King. And I know a lot of people don't see him that way or don't understand this, certainly not these lowlives on MSNBC and CNN that I watched a little bit of yesterday. And the MAGA movement led by Charlie Kirk and the president is leading all of the American people, no matter your skin color, gender, or anything, creed, whatever, to freedom from this deep state, permanent Washington class that have given us an illusion of freedom, but we've really been living in like East Germany, the Soviet Union, all our lives. And Charlie Kirk did something that was not even thought of as being a possible thing to do. And I went to a Turning Point USA event in Palm Beach a couple years ago, and invited by Charlie Kirk. And I talked about it at the time, and that event is when I realized the importance of Charlie Kirk, and I talked about it at the time. I saw all these young people, college kids and high school kids, that not only were conservative Republicans and wearing Make America Great Again hats, but they were the cool kids, right? There's always been the young Republicans. They were a small group of geeks. They wore khaki pants. They dressed like Tucker Carlson or somebody that worked at Blockbuster Video years ago. They'd wear khaki pants, a blue shirt, a blue blazer, and penny loafers, and they were dorks. And the left have always had the youth in their pocket because the youth generally don't understand what's going on. And what Charlie Kirk did, which I and everybody else would have thought was impossible, is he's turned the youth into conservative Republicans. That's a miracle. And I was talking at the beginning of the week. I saw Charlie Kirk at a college event at Florida State University. And I'd watched it, and it was the first time I'd watched one of his college things in a while, but I watched it because it was Florida State, and I'm in Florida. And I noticed a big change with the kids lined up to ask him questions. Almost all of them were wearing MAGA hats. And that's why they killed him. That's why they killed him. This is a part of the midterm election strategy, but it is. See, the Democrat Party is about to fade away from existence. Charlie Kirk is the second most important person in our entire movement. And what these evildoers have told themselves is that President Trump is in his second term. Whoever the second this is what they have told themselves, these never-Trumpers. He's in his second term limits, can't run again. Whoever the second MAGA president is needs Charlie Kirk. And that's why they killed him. Because he turned the youth around. You know, the youth have always been taken for granted to be liberal. If you go around the world, starting with the Russian Revolution, starting from that period, all of these communist, socialist movements start at universities. You know all this crap that goes on at Columbia? That used to be every university in America. The Cuban Revolution really started at the University of Havana. Okay? That's where these things start, because they got the youth. And Charlie Kirk turned the college age, and even Turning Point is active on high school campuses too. But they turned the college age kids into MAGA Republicans. And there's no one to replace Charlie Kirk. And I know every time someone great dies, people say nobody can replace Rush. Nobody can replace Charlie. You know, in this instance, it is so true because Charlie Kirk, there's no one lined up that could replace him. He's got things going for him that are very unusual, Charlie Kirk. He's incredibly good at debate. and he has movie star quality charisma. If Candace Owens had not screwed her life up and lost her mind and got involved in all this weird stuff that I'm not going to get sidetracked on, and she was still a normal person, she may have been able to move in and take over. There's no one that could take over for Charlie Kirk because they don't have the skill set and the charisma and the movie star magnetism that Charlie Kirk has. No one. And these college debates, people have been doing them other than Charlie, other conservative influencers. They're over now. And the anti-MAGA forces think they'll get the youth back without Charlie. And, you know, Turning Point USA is Charlie Kirk. There's no heir because was only 31. And what the future is of Turning Point USA will be, we don't know. There's only one person that I believe today who could take over for what Charlie is doing. And I'm going to throw the name out. It's Don Jr. Don Jr. is the only person out there that has those things that you need to do what Charlie Kirk was doing. There's a lot of these famous conservative influencers. None of them could take over. There's two right now that one I've seen on TV a couple times. The other one I've seen on some interviews since this incident. There's two, I'm not going to say their names now. I might be at some point. But there's two conservative influencers. Both of these guys are already angling to take over Turning Point. They're out of their minds. They haven't said it, but I can tell watching them on television and online talking about this. But this assassin, I'm going to stand by it. The same people that shot Trump and Butler, shot both Kennedys and Martin Luther King, did this. Same people. In fact, if you look at it, it's pretty much the same setup in Butler, but they learned from their mistake this time. We may never get this assassin, but hopefully we do. But if we do, if they try to tell us it's some Lee Harvey Oswald lone gunman, that's a patsy. This was a professional sharpshooter. You know, I have shot weapons my entire life. I've had guns since I was 12. I've shot in many different scenarios, outside and moving targets, hunting, birds, ski, everything. To make a shot like that from so far away with just one shot, that's professional. I don't care what they say, that's professional. One shot? No. You know, no, I will say I knew he was gone in the chair when I first saw it. What happened, I was getting ready to do my podcast. I was getting ready to go live on my podcast. So I'd done all my show prep. I disconnected from the news for a minute because I'm getting ready to go live, and my phone rang, and it was Steve Kane. And Steve Kane told me, he said, they shot Charlie Kirk. And I pulled it up immediately on X, and I saw it. I said, he's gone. They killed him. He was dead in the chair. But then a little while later, the AP was reporting that he was in surgery in critical condition in the hospital. They had a source at the hospital. And I thought, oh, a miracle has happened. But it didn't. I saw another video. It looked like it hit him. You know, when I saw it, my first thought was he was shot in the chest. And then we saw the neck. And it looks as if he was, the way it looks is that, I saw a close-up. By the way, don't watch these videos If you have already seen them, you've seen them. But if you haven't, you don't need to. Don't watch. Don't watch. I wish I didn't see it. But it looked like the bullet bounced off his bulletproof vest and ricocheted to his neck. But this is obviously it's a political assassination, and I am comparing this to Martin Luther King in 1968. It's the same type of assassination because Martin Luther King was leading a movement that a lot of people didn't like, so they killed him. And I'll tell you, even though civil rights have been achieved, has there been a decent leader of the black civil rights movement since Martin Luther King was killed in 1968? And the answer to that is no. We've had a bunch of con men and charlatans, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton, Black Lives Matter. There hasn't been a decent civil rights leader for African Americans since Martin Luther King, because he was irreplaceable. What we've had are terrible people trying to act like and pass themselves off as Martin Luther King. And if you look, this is carbon copy of Butler, other than they did an upgrade on who the patsy was. Okay, I'm going to take a break, and I am going to take calls. I'm going to tell you this. Any of you sicko psychotics, I went on, I get up like I do to do my show prep. I can't go on X. It's filled with lunatics that are saying just evil, demonic things about an American who was killed. I'm not putting up with that. I've got zero tolerance for that. And those of you that are regulars, if you pull that act on the call, I will ban you forever from this program. And I don't want to do that. This has always been a place where we welcome all viewpoints. And I don't want to change that. But I have zero tolerance for your evil, demonic perversions like I'm seeing online. And I am not kidding you. I will ban you from this program if you pull that stuff. And you may say, you may be so out of control with your insanity that you may say you don't care. But I'm serious as a heart attack. But what I want to do is open the phones to people, to have a forum to talk about your feelings, your emotions. This is, it's September 11th. And today's show is a lot like September 12th, 2001. It's September 11th, 2025, but this is a show like on September 12th, 2001, when people would call in and share their feelings, almost like a therapy session, which is not something I would normally do. I could sit here today all day and play audio sound bites of these idiots on television. I'm not going to do that. Katie Tur should be fired. The governor of Illinois is a disgust. Elizabeth Warren, did you see what she said? Oh, my goodness. All right. Every line on the board is lit. We'll be right back. take the calls when we get back. We'll be back in about 2 minutes. If you're on hold, every line's lit. I will take the calls and to the best of my ability in the order in which they were received. That's one of my cats. We'll be back in just over a minute. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm going to go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm the American Kaiserreich. I'm calling from Texas. Sir, I am a big fan of yours. I'm watching your live right now, and I used to watch the Charlie Kirk show in high school whenever I was a sophomore, and I heard about his assassination, and it shook me to my core. And all my friends and family are shaken by it too. He was a great man, and he would even tell people that are so lost, he would debate them, and he would tell them they could still turn their lives around.
Yeah. 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 I mean, he spent most of his time talking to people from the left.
Yeah, like really, really bad people, like people wearing the rainbows and the Satan stars and all that. I've been in your comments, the chats. Like right now, I'm not saying anything because I'm talking to you, good sir. I love your hats. I love your show. Happy to finally that you answered the call.
All right. Well,
big
thanks.
fan. And for everybody listening, please pray for Charlie Kirk's family, because his two daughters are going to grow up without him, and I feel so bad about it.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for your call. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hello?
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Sandra calling from Indiana.
Hey, Sandra.
And please excuse me if I do start crying. Because when I heard that, it reminded me when they tried to kill President Trump in July.
Yep.
And the liberals have become very demonic, possessed, evil, And it's been going over and over in my mind, these that keep protesting for the illegals and for the criminals and everything, and even the politicians. You can't tell me that any of those people are Christian, because they would not be doing this.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be doing this. And I'd like for them to look at themselves in the mirror when they're getting ready for work, putting their makeup on or shaving their face or brushing their teeth. I'd like for them to look at themselves in the mirror at how evil and ugly and possessed they are.
Yeah.
And I would like to know, how they pass away, or if the rapture comes, and they're standing in front of Jesus, and he goes over all the sins that they have done, and especially how they have been doing lately. What are they going to say?
Yeah.
When Jesus asked them why are they so evil and what they've done? I want them to look in the mirror every day and look at themselves.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cry.
No, it's okay. I've been doing it since yesterday.
And I was watching President Trump's rally live when he got shot.
Yeah.
And I about lost it. And I about lost it yesterday. And I know that they thought that they had the guy, that old man. And then someone said they had seen someone in a black outfit.
No, I knew it wasn't that guy. He was a clown, that guy. This was a professional assassination like Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Just like Crooks, I think he was the fall guy. This guy,
Yep.
That was a professional hit. You can't tell me otherwise.
No.
That was a professional assassination.
It's an interesting thing because the reaction that you're having, that I'm having, that so many are having, I'm in shock because we all know Charlie, we understand what he did and his importance, but I don't think any of us realized how connected we were to him until now. This is an attack on all of us. They couldn't get Trump, so they got Charlie.
When I was watching Real American Voices yesterday evening with Steve Gruber, he had oh God, I can't think of any of their names now, but like Ben Berquam and all of them. Yeah, they were talking to him, and John Solomon and everything. And because they knew him personally, they were all crying when they were trying to talk about it yesterday.
They had the news first because they've got the cell phone numbers of all the people in Charlie Kirk's circles, so they got the word from their friends.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I was going to try not to cry.
Yeah.
But these liberals have become so demonic, so possessed. And the politicians, and supposedly when Mike Johnson was wanting a moment of silence.
Oh, I know, I saw that.
The liberals were disrespectful. Yep. They were disrespectful.
Yeah. I imagine this is what it was like the day after they killed President Kennedy for people.
Yeah.
I bet, it was before I was born, but...
And you were right about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
All he wanted was equality and judge not by your color, but by your character. And he was a good man. And you're right, there has not been any other since him.
No. All right.
No.
All right. Thank you for your call.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Take care. We'll be right back. Oh, my goodness. phone is blowing up. Every line's lit, and okay, we'll be back in just a couple minutes on the radio. If you're on hold, stand by. There's one opening. Oh my goodness. If you're new, I'm on the radio in the morning, and this is a radio station break we're in. And usually I will be talking during the breaks, but I just don't have it in me to do it. I just can hardly get through the show. You know, it's difficult. Very difficult. It's worse than with Trump, because Trump immediately got up, right? I mean, they shot him, but he immediately got up, and we knew he was okay because he talked to us. He got up. I mean, do you think this was a? Tell me yes or no. I mean, you know. You guys know what I mean when I say the same people that killed Kennedy killed Charlie Kirk, that shot the president and Butler and Bobby and Martin Luther King. Do you agree with that in the chat? Yes or no? Do you guys agree with that? Yeah. 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 We'll be back in 1 minute. Every line is lit. Yeah, everybody agrees. Everyone agrees. Thanks for joining, guys, and thanks for calling. This is the most difficult show I've ever done. All right, 30 seconds. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, there's, everybody knows. I know we'll be back in a few seconds. Stand by. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Every line on our board is lit. Let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm John from Alabama. How are you doing this morning, Brian?
Well,
kind of a stupid rhetorical question.
I know. It's just a habit question. This is just a habit.
Yeah, it's. I just kind of wanted to touch base, real quick and discuss a few things. I'm not going to keep you on too long here because we got other callers waiting. But, I mean, here we go. We have more American patriots dead, and we're all sitting here asking ourselves what happened with the lapse of security because, Charlie was obviously not a nobody. I mean, he was probably the forefront of the Republican and conservative movement. I mean, granted, he's not a political figure like Donald Trump, but he obviously had to have some sort of security. And I'm sitting here wondering, where was the advance team? I mean, this guy was
because,
on the roof
listen,
of
the last time,
rifle.
okay, listen, nothing has happened like this since Martin Luther King. Right? And I wasn't even alive yet. Nothing like, and they killed them both for the same reason, because they were doing the same thing. But normal people like Martin Luther King and Charlie Kirk don't have a Secret Service detail. That costs so much money, and it's so big, and those Secret Service details have federal police powers and everything else. Nobody has that. Billionaires don't have billionaires don't have that. They've got bodyguards. It's nothing like this has happened. It's like 9/11. Today's September. It's like 9/11. 9/11 was sadly successful on that day because they attacked in a way that had not been done before, and that's this hasn't happened in 57 years. Something like this. Almost 60 years since something like this has happened. So. Even though it has a lot of I know it's a redo of Butler, but that was with a president. Charlie Kirk was a civilian. Civilians don't have that kind of security.
You would think with the money that Turning Point had behind it, he would at least have somewhat of a.
Well, he had a bulletproof vest on it. The bullet looks like it ricocheted.
That's the other thing, too, and I was sitting here listening to the audio. I'm not a ballistics or forensics expert here, but, when we all initially saw before the close-up video, which I encourage nobody to watch because it's quite horrific if you haven't seen it already, it sounded like probably a 5.56 from 200 to 300 meters away. And I'm thinking to myself, when you watch the video, not the close-up, it almost appeared, though, that it was a chest impact, but you saw the obvious impact in the carotid. But if I was thinking here, the only way it would have really been a ricochet is if he would have had like AR-500 steel and it spalled. Ceramic plates are not going to spall like that. So, I mean, it's just the fact that, we're this far ahead of the shooting and we don't even have any answers or suspects or names in custody, just disturbing to me. But, that's all I'm going to touch on this, Brian. And my prayers and thoughts with all the listeners and you today. I'm
going to tell you, we may never get this. This assassin could be in South America now, or Europe, or Asia. I mean, when I tell you it's the same people that killed Kennedy that did this, I am so serious about that. And they may turn somebody up today, like Oswald, some patsy, but no, this was. And anyone that knows guns, you don't make a shot like that far away with one shot. A lot of times what happens, you get one shot, and then you kind of gauge how to aim the second shot, and it's the second. Even Oswald needed more than one shot.
Yeah.
Marine marksman. So whoever this is a professional sharpshooter.
All right, Brian.
Take care. Take care. Appreciate it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Sherry again, if I'm allowed to call in since my call was cut short.
I've got like 80 people on hold, but that's okay. It's a special day.
Okay, I'll just make it real quick. I just want to call and just send my condolences and just let you know everything you're saying, you're just right on the track of all truth. It is the same path as JFK, Bobby. This was a professional hit. Of course, with the distance, 200 yards and just one shot. He had enough influence on the colleges. I really think his movement will move on. I think he carried a lot of weight. And yes, I do believe that when it came to carrying weight with the election of Donald Trump, I think played a big part in that. I personally wish I would have never seen the video, but before you see it, you don't know what to anticipate, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you for letting me call back in, and that you're doing a great job, Brian. And I'm really glad to see you show emotion on something like this, because it just shows how committed you are to this country and that you want nothing but the best.
All right. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Aaron, and it's Texas, and I have two statements.
Okay.
One is I'm apologizing for saying the F word on the radio thing, and two is God rest Charlie's soul.
All right. A decent Democrat. Didn't think we'd hear from that today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Mike in Boca.
Hey.
What a horrible day, but first I want to say God bless you, man, because this is I know this is a hard one for you to do today.
I don't want to be here today.
But I appreciate you.
I got to tell you.
I know.
I went on the air
imagine.
when they shot the president in Butler. It was on Saturday, the owner of the radio station called me and said, "Hey, you want to go on the air?" And I went on the air, but Trump was okay. We knew he was okay.
Right.
And that was cake compared to this. This was about all of us. This was about all of us, man. Charlie Kirk, they did this to take down they couldn't get Trump. They've told themselves that he's in his second term, he can't run again. And whoever is going to be the heir to President Trump and be the second MAGA president is going to need Charlie Kirk. So they took him out to stop the second MAGA president.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you because there's no one that moved the younger people like Charlie Kirk.
No one will again. There's no replacement.
To the conservative side.
And I'm go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The only good thing that I heard about Charlie Kirk's movement is that it was such a huge movement. I didn't realize how many people are involved in Turning Point USA and how many followers and this and that. I have to think that there had to be somebody being groomed, could,
He's
not replace him.
No,
but
there was who I'm really pissed off at right now is Candace Owens. She started out with Charlie, and she's become a lunatic. And if she would have kept her wits about her and didn't get nuts, she may have been able to. These people, Candace Owens, who cannot pick up now, they have movie star like charisma. There's no one. He was 31 years old. They weren't grooming any replacement. And there's two people whose names.
No, I understand.
I'm upset, so I'm not going to say their names. There's two conservative influencers.
I understand.
One of them I saw on Fox last night. Another one I saw online, and they're angling to take over Turning Point. They're out of their freaking minds. They're out of their freaking minds with their fake grief.
I do.
I got to run for the top. I got to run for the top. I'm sorry.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back.
Core of the left, at the core of a liberal.
We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. We'll be back in about 90 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. Just over a minute. We're talking about Charlie Kirk. Somebody in the chat asked who's Charlie. Charlie Kirk. "30 seconds. Welcome back. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm going to go back to the phones. Of course, we're talking about the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you're welcome to call in and share your thoughts and, well, I guess join the group therapy we're doing today, because that's basically what this is today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Kenneth Scholler. I'm calling from Gadsden, Alabama.
Hey, Alabama.
How you doing, Mr. Brian?
Okay, how are you?
Prayers for... woke up and said prayers for our nation this morning.
Yep.
I've been listening to you for a few weeks now, and I got to say I'm a fan. I just wonder when we're going to start holding these people in charge of security accountable.
Well, you know, Charlie Kirk was a regular guy. He wasn't a politician, a public official. Regular people don't have Secret Service details where they just don't. I was talking before the top of the hour. There hasn't been an assassination like this since Martin Luther King in 1968. Right? I mean, so it's basically almost 60 years ago. So,
I just wonder when they're going to stop attacking the conservatives. I mean, even Dr. King was a conservative.
That's right. Never. That's how the left are evil. They're evil. Look at how they're behaving, the reaction. I mean, MSNBC, they covered up their hate, but, before we even got the official announcement, they were saying terrible things about Charlie. They were calling him a white nationalist and all this stuff.
It's not even that. Look in your comments. Some of your comments that are coming through your comments are absolutely disgusting.
I can't read any of that.
I mean, they glorified George Floyd and burned cities over George Floyd.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then they're going to spit hate over a man that done nothing but good. You know what it is?
Kirk. The liberals are too stupid to understand what happened. When I say the same people killed Kennedy, that killed Charlie Kirk, that shot the president and Butler and Martin Luther King and all that, I'm serious as a heart attack. Don't you understand? The powers that be that have been waging lawfare against President Trump for a decade are the people behind this to stop freedom in this country. And, and these Democrats that are celebrating this all over this country are too stupid, too ignorant and insane to understand. They're a bunch of pod people who want to go back into the Matrix.
It's hate. It's hatred.
I mean, look, Steve Scalise was on Fox yesterday, and he Remember, that was a Democrat who he shot Steve Scalise, but if you remember, he worked on Bernie Sanders' campaign. He was trying to kill the entire Republican baseball team, but the Capitol Police stopped him.
Absolutely.
I mean, these, you look at the major events and assassinations in history, it's always leftist. John Wilkes Booth was a Democrat. President McKinley was a Republican.
Absolutely.
Garfield, Republicans. Even Kennedy, who was a Democrat, was shot by a deep state actor because he was taking on the establishment by withdrawing us from Vietnam. Same thing with Bobby.
If Kennedy was here today, he would be a conservative.
Well, he was
his ideas were conservative.
Mm-hmm. That's right. So it's always the same people. It's always from the other side. It's always the other side.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of the menace and the hatred.
Well, that's the left. All right. Thank you for your call. Yeah, I mean, that's sadly the way they are. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Melissa in Tennessee.
Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Don. I am devastated. I'm just devastated. I don't know if I can get through this. I'm just devastated. He is irreplaceable. I feel so defeated.
Yeah. Don't feel defeated.
He loved. Say what?
Don't feel defeated.
I do. I feel defeated. I really prayed for him, and it just, I prayed for a miracle.
Yeah.
He just loved this country so much.
I still can't believe it.
I can't either. I'm just in shock still.
I can't believe
I'm devastated. But anyway, I just want to say that I feel like he's irreplaceable. Like you said about Rush, he's still irreplaceable.
See, Charlie Kirk did something that everyone thought was impossible. He turned the youth of this nation into Republicans. That's why they killed him. And he had influence. I give you an example of his influence, okay? And don't go anywhere. I'll let you finish, okay? I'm not in a rush. I give you an example, okay? This Ukrainian refugee that was murdered. She was murdered weeks ago. Charlie Kirk brought that up a couple days ago, and he changed the whole nation into it. Second only to the president, he has more influence than anyone else alive, and that's why they killed him.
Yeah, I know, and I believe what you believe about who killed him. And I just want to say, unless the Lord raises someone else up, I just don't see anybody taking his place. Now, he can raise somebody up, great. He had the perfect package. He was polite. He was positive. He was peaceful. He was a rare find. Yep. He always did everything with a smile. He kept his cool. He never got angry. And he was a religious man. And that's, he could quote scriptures out of the Bible, and then he could also tell you anything about the American history that you wanted to know. He was just so good at everything, when he did the debates. That's the word I was trying to think. He could debate the best, and he did it with a smile,
Yeah.
And he had joy and peace, and that's when, you said Don Jr., I was just like, he's got to be a religious man, and be like, he was just such a rare find, and I just hated
this is what no one wants to say this, okay? I'm going to tell you. Charlie Kirk was turning point. Okay? It was.
He was. It was his baby.
This isn't like, I know people say, oh, no one can replace Rush and all that stuff. There's never been such a true statement as that with Charlie Kirk. This is a little different, but JFK Jr. had George Magazine, which was a big deal. As soon as he was gone, George Magazine was gone. And this Turning Point USA has, the Christian Coalition did good work, but they weren't really converting people. That was just people that already agree.
They right. I mean, he was it. He was it.
Charlie Kirk
he was doing it. Yeah.
Charlie Kirk went to America's colleges that were all like Columbia a couple years back, and he turned them all into Republicans. And the Democrats, the Never Trumpers know they've lost the youth. There's no way to get it back. Their replacement's not going to work because the president shut down the border. So they know that there's no one turning. There's two people already angling to try to replace Charlie Kirk. I saw one on TV last night with his crocodile tears, and another one I've seen do some interviews online. Turning Point will never be the same. First of all,
it won't.
No one's going to be able to do these college debates anymore. Those are over. Okay, and that was an important part of it.
I mean, that's what we need, though. That's why I'm so upset. Is because this youth of this country and the country needed him so much. He did so much good because these liberal colleges and these liberal professors are brainwashing our young people. And did you see the crowd? I mean, the crowds that he would draw and just the way he carried himself.
Let me tell you, they made a mistake because they killed one of the president's best friends.
Yeah.
And President Trump is, believe me, is going to be very personally involved in the future of Turning Point and bringing this to justice.
And I just got one more thing to say. The left is just they're full of hate, and they just talk violence. They're the ones they say it's us. Everything they blame, tell us we're doing. They're the ones that's doing it.
Well, see, the left,
and the Democrats have sold their party to the lunatic left.
Well,
and there was this. They were saying that there was this Polish, or I think it was from Poland, a professor or something that studied the political left for 40 years. And he came out and he said they're mentally off, they're crazy, they're psychopaths.
Well, that's
and
true.
I think a lot
that's
of
very
them,
true.
A lot of them have that. And I think what Charlie would say is, to the left that's listening, to search for Jesus. Find him, you'll find peace and joy.
Well, the liberals, that's true. The liberals believe that words are weapons, that words are bullets, that words are bombs. They believe words are the same as a weapon. So if you voice, it's hard for us as sane people to grasp that, but that's how they feel. So if you voice an opinion different from theirs, they feel you're using a weapon. They're not right in the head.
Well, that's true. And it just seems like we have so much against us, from the media. They spew a bunch of crap, and for the judges, these liberal judges, these far left judges, these non-American judges are ruining, letting people out that need to be in there that's been arrested 11 times or 14 times. And we just have so much corruption. And but to the angry left, Charlie would just say, search for Jesus. He is peace and joy. And that's what Charlie had.
Okay. All right. Take it. Thank you for the call. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. I will. I'm trying to take the calls in the order in which they were received. It's a rough day. Yep, that's for sure. It's a rough day. Bill O'Reilly, I saw him with Cuomo from last night, and he made such great points. He was talking about the danger, and we're still in a break on the radio station. He was talking about the danger we're in, like the 1930s, right? Putin launching rockets into Poland. This, Mamdani ahead in the polls in New York. This is a really bad time we're in. It's a really bad time. Okay, we will be back in about a minute. About a minute, we'll be back. Now, this is, people that on the left, because I could sense this on, by the way, Ray Rose, thank you for that super chat. When I saw MSNBC and a little bit of CNN, because I was flipping through everything, they don't understand the significance of Charlie Kirk. They don't understand what they've done. They don't understand what's happened here. They have no reference. To me, they look annoyed that they even have to talk about it. Really. They have no understanding. They think he's like, in their mind, he's like a Nick Fuentes guy. Fred Phelps guy. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, and really what we're doing is we're processing our feelings from what happened yesterday with Charlie Kirk. I mean, this is thinking back on it. This is how the way we're doing the show today is how we did the show on September 12th, 2001. It was a very, very much the same kind of thing that we're experiencing now. But in some ways, it's a little more difficult because on September 12th, we had hope that there were people alive in the buildings, but we also knew who did it exactly. And by the next day, we felt somewhat confident that the attacks had stopped. This, with the assassins still on the loose, no one putting in proper perspective what happened. I was flipping through all the cable news to just try to get as much news as I had to stop getting my news online because people kept posting the video. And I couldn't even go through social media today because people just keep posting and reposting the video, and I don't need to see it again. I wish I hadn't seen it once. And social media is filled with nothing but this video. So I'm flipping through everything, and CNN, their staff, and MSNBC, we know the inappropriate things that they said yesterday, and I'm not going to play any of that stuff. I'm just not going to do it. I could, but I'm not. But they seemed annoyed that they had to talk about Charlie Kirk in a decent way yesterday. I could tell. They were so bothered that they had to cover this story. They don't understand who and what he was. They think, you got to understand how the liberals think. To CNN and MSNBC's on-air anchor staff, Charlie Kirk is to them what Fred Phelps was. If you remember Fred Phelps, he was a homophobic minister that had a church of about 20 people. All of them were in his family. And he was a nut. And that's how they view Charlie Kirk. They don't understand in the mainstream media. Fox does, and Newsmax does. I'm talking about CNN, MSNBC, and the liberal media. They don't understand how big of a person he was and how large his movement was. The people that assassinated Charlie Kirk do, because that's why they did it. And the reaction that I'm having and all of you are having today, they don't understand it. They really don't understand it. And they never will. Just like they don't understand our connection with the president. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Maddie from Sunrise.
Hey, Maddie.
Yeah. We are all with you, Brian. You can do this. You're very brave. We all love Charlie. He was fantastic. And we're not going to get over it soon, but we will go on. And I want to mention something about you, if I could. You need to stop going to gas stations early in the morning.
Yes.
You need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I worry about you. And I'm not the only one. Everybody does. Your wife, your daughter. We love you. We need you around. You are a very rational, wonderful person.
Well, thank you,
and
Maddie.
that's how I feel.
All right, Maddie.
And I watch you all the time. I watch you early in the morning because I'm up very early, and then I just keep watching you, and you make me feel so patriotic. And I love you. Everyone loves you.
Well, thank you very much.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Right, take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Steve from Staten Island.
Hey, Steve. Hold on, Steve. Let me answer some of these phones. The phones have never been this busy. All right. Yeah, go ahead, Staten Island.
I'm so it's just distraught. I mean, my prayers go to Kirk's family and such. It's just amazing when Trump, our great president, is making we're winning, and it feels like they're so jealous that they have to do this. I mean, it just sickens me.
Yeah.
I just can't. It's just so bad. I mean, okay, you don't agree with everything. You can always be gentlemen and ladies and talk about it.
I didn't always agree with Charlie Kirk. I agree with Charlie Kirk maybe 99% of the time, but that's okay. You know?
Sure, exactly. You can sit down and have a gentleman and lady talk and anything. Mm-hmm. But to go this far, I mean, it's just sickening. Like I said, I can't take the fact that it's gone to this.
You know, I got to tell you, I am in such shock, you know, over this, and I've never had a reaction like this to anything that's happened. And see, you know, everybody loves Charlie Kirk, but his significance to the MAGA movement is so much larger than people realize. You know, if it weren't for Charlie Kirk, President Trump may not have been reelected. You know, you're old enough to know the idea that the majority of college students at our American universities would be MAGA, would be Republicans. That's an insane thought to try to make that happen. And that happened. Yeah. You know, and it happened in just a few short years. You know, I mean, you know, it happened. Most of it happened after Trump's first term. Yeah, most of it happened in the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
The people, he woke everybody up, and we're seeing everything that Trump has done has been great. What was the last few presidents? Have they done what this man has done? No.
No. And you know, this... Just, yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's jealousy or what, but that's what I have to say.
Mm-hmm. No, it's the Democrat Party is fading away into non-existence. And they knew, you know, they tried everything with Trump. And they finally, in Butler, went to the worst because they thought that with the lawfare, because this is what they thought with President Trump. they thought because we're conservative, we support law and order, we're pro-law. When they got him in all these court cases and everything, they thought we would drop him. And they, you know, it made him stronger. So they shot him. And because the PowerPoint presentation was on the other side of the stage than normal, their operation got messed up. You know? And that's why he survived. If it had been on the other side of the stage where it normally would have, we would have lost him on that day. That's why he brought out the girl that did the PowerPoint, brought her out on stage, remember? At one of the rallies. Yeah. You know, and this was a and then they try to do it again at the golf course. This was a redo of that. This was a redo of that. And they learned from their mistakes in Butler. And it was a softer target because this isn't a president. But, you know, that's it. I mean, there's no doubt. Whoever was behind Butler was behind this. And they also upgraded their patsy this time from that punk.
Yeah, to me they showed their hand. That's all to me it is. They
it's
showed
desperate.
Their hand and desperate, exactly.
But this is what I was talking about earlier. You know, remember Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, by the way, I'm not blaming them for this, but in their text messages, Lisa Page said she got a copy of All the President's Men, and this is our guidebook to bring down Trump, right? They you know, remember Rush? Rush used to say that the left always bring out the same old playbook. This playbook is the playbook of Martin Luther King's assassination. I was talking to this with a caller earlier. The same people that killed Martin Luther King killed Charlie Kirk. And the civil rights, and after he died in 1968, tell me a decent civil rights leader blacks have had in this country. They've all been con men, Sharpton, Jackson, a few degenerates here and there. And there's never, the movement never has been back. It's been Black Lives Matter and Low Lives that had a real estate scam going, or, you know, Jesse Jackson had a shakedown financial scam, you know, Al Sharpton, you know, and that the civil rights movement for African Americans in many ways died with Martin Luther King in 1968, and they know that. And there's no one to replace Charlie Kirk, and I'm not saying that in a polite way that people say when people pass. There's no one out there that has the movie star charisma that he has and the ability to debate that he has. He has a charisma, that it factor, and he has everything. And there's nobody else out there. If Candace Owens had not become a lunatic and was still her old self, maybe. But there's no one. And these two conservatives on TV with their crocodile tears that think they're going to replace Charlie are out of their freaking minds. I'm not going to tell you who I'm thinking about. I'm too upset. I don't want to say the names. But you guys know. You probably had the same thoughts. One of them was on Fox yesterday.
Yeah, same figure. Yeah.
You know, and one of them I've seen on a bunch of interviews online, and they think they're going to move in. No one has that charisma. And, you know,
they don't have the points that he had.
The only person in this country today that could keep that thing going would be Don Jr. Vivek Ramaswamy can't. No, there's no one out there that has all the factors that Charlie Kirk had. And Turning Point's not going to disappear, but you know, what's the 700 Club without Pat Robertson, right? So, you know, it's that kind of thing. Turning Point is Charlie. I know some people say, well, other people do debates. You know, a lot of people do debates, but not like Brett Baer, who was talking last night on Fox. He said, you know, with his kids, he said there's two people they wanted to meet, and you know, they want to meet President Trump and they want to meet Charlie Kirk, right? Young people, you know. And there's no one, and because he's only 31, they hadn't been thinking about a successor. This is about the midterms, and this is also about the next presidential election, because they know that outside of anyone whose last name is Trump, Charlie Kirk is the most influential person in America today when it comes to politics, news, and issues, and that whoever the next MAGA president is going to be, Charlie Kirk would bring them to victory. And now he's gone. And this is about the establishment of when I'm talking about, I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm talking about the political establishment, the permanent ruling class. This is the assassination of Charlie Kirk is about them taking control of the country back from the MAGA people.
It seems that way. The fact that after Trump, I mean, Trump is going to be for our.
Well, they figure because of his age, and he's in his second term. But that's yeah.
Look, the thing was, to them, Kirk was the more, I say, one that's going to be kicking butt again.
We would have had 50 plus years of Charlie Kirk out there bringing Republicans to victory. The Democrat Party, it's not just the Democrat Party's evaporating. The political ruling, we have been in a country where the freedom was an illusion. We've been living in the Matrix. That's why when people become conservative, we say red-pilled. It's from the Matrix. We've been in the Matrix. We have not been a free country. We were free when Trump won his first election.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really free now because look what President Trump's doing. Everything, think about it. Yeah. People say, "Oh, you bootlicker, you support Trump with everything." Yeah, everything that Trump is doing is why they shot him in Butler to try to stop him from doing it, and that's why I support everything that man does. And they can't, and they figure they can't get to him again. They tried twice and failed. So they got the second most important person in the MAGA movement, Charlie Kirk.
Exactly. And it just irritates how what they've become. It irritates.
They're monsters.
Beyond
but this isn't. Exactly. I don't want people to think this is just the left. The left are the idiots that are doing somersaults and everything exciting. But this is about the ruling elite. Remember Glenn Beck? I mentioned this the other day. Glenn Beck dropped something the other day. He said something that pissed off George W. Bush, and he summoned him to the Oval Office. And he told Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck was talking about this the other day. He told Glenn Beck, it doesn't matter who the president is. The same people still run everything. The presidents are just figureheads. Right. So those are the people that have been dethroned by President Trump, especially with his re-election to a second non-consecutive term. And whoever the next MAGA president will be, JD, Marco,
Hegseth, Marco was the vice president.
Yeah, whoever. They think this was a move. They think with Charlie Kirk out of the mix, they got a chance to win the next presidential election. And there will not be a second MAGA president after Trump's second term, and then they can get back in power.
To me, it's more of what they did. It makes us more angry, more wanting to believe in Trump, do everything we have to do.
That's right. This. And I'll tell you, the two people that I've been referencing that I see angling to take over Turning Point, I'll give you a hint. I have not said their names on the program today. I've not said either of their names on the program today. Okay. To give you a hint. All right, appreciate the call. Take care. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. All right. Boy. All right. We've just passed the halfway mark of the show. By the way, guys, the calls have been spectacular. Thank you for the super chat. Karen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. And thank you for these great calls. Thank you for these calls. The calls are spectacular. But, no, this is the roughest day I've ever had on the air. I've had this, I talk to my wife. Steve mentions this to me a lot. I have this ability that when I'm on the air, no matter what's going on in my personal life, I can block it out. And, you know, for the 3 or 4 hours I'm on the air, but with this, I just haven't been able to. I'm starting to be able to get a little bit of control. I'm not saying the names of the people I'm talking about because I'm so upset. And when you're upset, I don't want to say something. But there are 2 people that I see them angling. I mean, do you agree with that? I mean, some of you may have an idea of who I'm talking. I don't know. I'm not going to confirm or deny, but it's just not possible. Not possible. I'm not going to confirm or deny with any names because then you'll start doing elimination. I've said too much about that already, you know, but I just can't. I just can't get myself to. You know, this is just a rough time. I'm at, you know. I still can't believe it. I mean, I know what happened. I know, but but in a way, I feel like I'm almost like in denial it's happened too. I just can't believe Charlie Kirk is dead. I just can't believe it. But the calls have been very good today, so I appreciate that, guys. I would not be able to get through this show if it were not for you guys. If anything breaks while I'm on the air about you with this, let me know, and I'll pull it up. We'll be back in 2 minutes. I'll be right back. We've got about a minute. Welcome. If you're new, usually I talk more during the breaks on the radio, but I just don't have it in me. Oh. Today is just a rough day. And on 9/11, on September 11th, my goodness. All right, we're coming back. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm going to go back to the phones in a moment, but you guys that have been calling in, I want to really thank you. We haven't had too much of the scumminess of the left. The lines have been pretty full, so maybe you guys have been clogging the lines up and they haven't been able to get through. But I've had a couple, but not so much, and I was able to cut them off. And if it were not for you guys calling in today, I don't know how I would have gotten through this show. And we passed the halfway mark, so thank you so much for that. I'm trying to take the calls in the order in which they were received, but they're coming in so fast and furious, it's hard for me to keep track of that. So if you've been on hold for a long time, I will get to you guys. I'm going to get to every call on this board. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Joe from California.
Hey, California. What's up?
I wanted to thank you for doing this I can understand how difficult it is for you. It's difficult for all of us. I still don't believe that he is gone. With that being said, I'm mad. I don't understand how he got on top of the roof. I don't understand how there's video cameras everywhere and they don't have any information. They don't tell us anything.
Well, you know, this is,
Yet
you know, I have
they
been
seem to
following.
grab onto
I've been following
two people.
I've been following this kind of stuff, my whole life. Okay, and in the modern era, there has never been a high-profile incident where we got nothing. You know, as an example, the Boston bombers, the Zarnev brothers, right? They had a street camera photo of them straight away, and out there on TV. And you know, this Utah governor, I don't know anything about him other than that press conference. I like that guy. You know, I was very impressed with the governor of Utah yesterday. I don't know anything about him, but I was pretty impressed at the presser. He said they have some security footage from that building. I don't care what poor condition it's in. Why have they not released it? You can recognize someone by a stance, right? Just by their stance.
There was some information saying that they had the, I think it was on the police scanner that they had said that they had noticed that the person had exited the building.
Correct. I heard that.
So my question is that access to roofs are very, very limited, and they're usually locked. So how is it that somebody can gain access to the roof, not a balcony, a roof? And there's cameras all over that place.
And not only that, I saw some of the aerial footage when the cops are up on the roof. The shooter left nothing behind up there, which shows professionalism.
Very professional.
Yeah,
it shows professional. And I saw that what you were commenting on in regards to the fact that he was wearing some protective gear.
Yeah.
And I can see how because it looks like there was because his shirt moved. Right, it is almost at the.
It hit him directly. It looked like it hit him in the heart.
Yeah, it does. It did. Because the shirt movement. The fact of the matter is that this is extremely tragic, and where he's at right now. He is not concerned with what's going on down here. He is at the right hand of God. I pray for his family, and I pray for those beautiful, beautiful children that are never going to actually get to grow up with him. When they graduate from high school, kindergarten, walk down the aisle when they get married. You know, I don't know where all of this hatred comes from because someone has a different point of view, but obviously he was extremely effective at what he was doing.
He was. We know he was. He was the most effective. Let me tell you, he was the most effective conservative activist in the history of this country. There's no one that, you know, all these other groups, NRA, Christian Coalition, and all these groups, they were preaching to the choir. He converted. He red-pilled people by the millions.
I completely agree. There is one guy that I think would be an absolute perfect match for it. His name's George Beasy. He's on Twitter. He's involved.
You're talking about Deese?
Deese,
D-E-E-C.
Yes.
I was on TV with him, I think, once. How do I know Steve Deese? You guys, I have some connection to Steve Deese. I've had some interaction. I don't remember what it was.
George also made comments on Twitter because they were close too.
Yeah.
And he stated that Charlie was the one that ended up opening up his mind, and he is very in touch with his spirituality, and he is extremely young, and it's the right demographic. I pray that this movement that Charlie created does not stop, with his no longer being here. I do pray.
Well,
they're not. I pray you're wrong.
The reason, listen, the reason that Turning Point and Charlie Kirk were so successful was many, including his incredible charisma. But the main thing was his debates at these colleges with people. And then they would go viral on TikTok and things. And there's no one that's going to be able to do that. I know people say, well, Crowder does that. No, Crowder's no. There's no one that does it like Charlie Kirk.
Charlie was he was authentic. He was extremely classy, and he was very, very polite. I saw him on Jubilee.
Yeah.
And he was handing it, but he was always respectful.
Yep.
And even one of the people that he ended up debating, who has a huge, gigantic following, came out on social media and said that this was disgusting. He said that he didn't like Charlie, but that what occurred to him was not warranted, and that it's disgusting. I mean, he came out against this violence. And how anybody who agreed with this.
Well, I gotta tell you and I'm sure you guys have noticed this. When the guy, the questioner that was asking about the trans shooter violence, a lot of people, including myself and my wife, we saw that almost seemed like a cue. You know what I mean, for the shooter.
Anything seems. Listen, since they're not providing us with any answers to what the hell went on, then we're going to end up speculating, and that's just what we do.
And I got to tell you, they said they had what, 6 cops there. The few cops they had there, when they made such a big deal about that old man who was on his knees that they were arresting and said, "I have the right to remain silent." They helped the guy escape. They helped the shooter escape because everybody thought they got the shooter. And so people stopped looking.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of with President Trump, it's like some guy that now we don't know nothing about. We still don't have any answers in regards to that. And as you mentioned, with the Boston bomber, they were able to catch those two within less than 8 hours.
And they had a photograph. They told at the governor's press conference, it might have been the police. It wasn't they had somebody there from law enforcement. It wasn't FBI, not the campus chief. There was another law enforcement guy. It might have been with the state. I don't know. But anyway, he said they had some poor quality surveillance footage from the building. Well, show it to us. You can recognize someone by how they stand, by their clothing. Even if it's a poor thing, you can say, "Oh, I saw that guy at the 7-Eleven," or "I saw that guy." You understand what I mean?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you is that there's so many cameras on college campuses.
That's right.
That they're able actually to piece someone's movement.
And street cameras.
Yes, exactly, down to what car they get into, because the parking lots have cameras.
And this looked like a very modern campus to me. This doesn't look like some campus that doesn't have cameras.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. They can literally piece everything, all of his movements, and they can go and they can figure out when he ended up going into the building, because obviously he's trying to leave. And obviously he's going, they're going to be able to find him.
The guy could be in Indonesia by now, for all we know. You understand what I mean? And I'll tell you, I saw one of my favorite reporters, John Solomon from Just the News. He says they're looking at foreign intelligence or foreign actors in this.
Yeah, I heard that too.
If they did it, listen. When I say it was the same people that killed Kennedy and Dr. King, they may have farmed it out to somebody in another country.
Well, don't also forget that, President Trump is getting very, very tough on cartels. These people do things that you would never, ever imagine they would do. And And literally, they do not care. They don't care who they take out. They don't care how that person gets taken out.
I don't think people should start focusing on other countries. I think I would look within before I'd look out. But anyway, listen, I got to take our last break of the hour. Thank you for your call. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back. You know, we don't know. We don't know, but there's for someone to operate at an American, you know, it doesn't get more American and white than Utah. And if there's somebody around in all black who's not American, not white, they would stand out like nobody's business, I would think, at this campus. Wouldn't you? I could be wrong, but I would look within before I would start looking at other countries. But yeah, almost everyone in Utah is white and American. Someone from another country, not white, would stand out a lot more. I mean, that we don't know. I mean, here we are. What, 16 hours later or something? Okay, let me see. No. Those of you that are new, this is the most pro-Trump MAGA program anywhere, and we always take live calls, so welcome to the program under these god-awful, I wish you would have found me in a happier way. But, and I'll be back in the afternoon with a podcast this afternoon. After we, because the president's doing his 9/11 event and everything, so we'll hear more from him. It's a god-awful day. I'm so messed up on the breaks. We're in a radio station break right now. In this segment, I'm like 10 minutes late for the break, and so it's almost time for the top of the hour break. You got just over a minute, and we'll be back. Yeah, I mean, this is. See, if this was just some random liberal activist, they'd have already gotten them. That'd be a clown. And that's not what's happening here. It's not what's happening here. It's amazing as the president addressed the nation. Did the mainstream media carry that? We've got about 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to go back to the phones. And then in the last hour, we'll be on schedule. So the segments will be longer. Oh, gosh. I'm sorry, guys. Welcome back. All right, back to the phones we go. I'm so messed up on our break schedule, guys. I apologize. We're going to take our top of the hour break on time. Steve Kane will be joining us. We'll take your calls, and we'll be on schedule in the third hour, so the segments will be longer than in this hour. It's my apologies. It's hard for me to watch the clock with all that's going on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Hi, my name is Anne Marie, and I'm from Louisiana.
Yes, Anne Marie.
Man, I didn't know Charlie Kirk, but I knew his heart. I'm just like you. It seems like we're on the same schedule. I couldn't sleep. I'm trying to stay off social media because of all the videos and all. Just
yeah, I mean, listen, I can't go on X. Social media is overloaded with two things: the video that we don't need people to keep reposting, and these mental patient liberals that are celebrating. And I can't go on social media. I can't do it.
Right, I feel the exact same way. I mean, I'm devastated. I'm totally devastated. He was such a good-hearted.
Well, I'm going to tell
person.
you. Okay. There were how many people were in attendance? 2,000, and it was an all-day event. Yeah. Out of 2,000 people, how many videos and photographs are there? And you mean to tell me, and we haven't seen anything about a photograph other than that one poor video or two from the roof from far away? Give me a freaking break, And the great Roger Stone posted on X. Listen to this. This is Roger Stone. I wrote a New York Times best-selling book on the Kennedy assassination. I'm finishing a book on the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan. I've studied the 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump. Charlie Kirk was killed by a skilled shooter and a professional hit. That's Roger Stone.
Right.
This is not some lunatic trans activist. I mean, this is no, unless the trans activist was a trained sniper in the special forces at some point.
Right. What's weird, I agree with you. I think it's a group. I think it's just exactly like you said. I think they could have done that anywhere he's been. Like you said, he doesn't have Secret Service, anything like that. But they wanted it to be seen by everyone.
Yep, that's right. Listen, I gotta take the break for the top, but thank you for your call. We'll be on schedule in the next hour. Don't go anywhere. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this. Hey, what's up? Okay. Hey, all right. Well, I'll pull you up on the speaker. You'll hear me better in a minute. If something happens and I lose you, you want me to call I'll call the other one. I'll call the other one real quick. Is that better? Okay. You there? Okay, we're at the top. Okay, I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. If I lose you, to the calls. Yeah, to the calls. We got to... if I lose you, I'll call you back during the next break if something happens, okay? All right, so hold on. All right. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, we'll be back in just over a minute. Oh, man. Oh, this is a rough show. Less than a minute. All right, the third hour has begun. Steve Kane is joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
Oh boy, this is one of the
bizarre happening if I've ever seen one.
This is one of the most. I think this is the most difficult show I've ever done. It's frightening.
Well, we've been mourning for 2 days straight.
Well, you know what. Even today's 9/11, but on when we went on the air on September 12th, the day after the attack, it was not as difficult as this because we knew what happened, right? We knew who did it. We were pretty confident the next day that the attack was over, and we still had hope that there were people alive in the building, right, in the rubble. Today we have no shooter. They're still on the run.
I've never seen one like that. I mean, this is bizarre. Usually, to commit a crime like that. And by the way, we were in touch yesterday. We were going through a lot of it together on the phone. It was just astounding. It was like there's no bad guy. There's no one. The first time I've ever seen.
You've been through more of these than I have. Let me ask you if you remember, because it's been a long time. You were working on the radio when Kennedy was killed. I mean, did you guys know the next day that it was Oswald and everything? And Sirhan with Kennedy, even though he wasn't the real killer.
It's an interesting question. I don't remember. I remember where I was.
Everybody remembers
when Kennedy was shot. I was in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yeah.
With my, at the time, first wife. We were. She was getting cosmetic surgery at a hospital at the University of Virginia.
In 1963? Oh, my gosh. They did cosmetic surgery then? My goodness.
Yep.
Did they have anesthesia? Yes. Did they have anesthesia back then?
Yes.
But in all of the high-profile assassinations in my day, we knew immediately pretty much who it was. Even in, this... Listen, Roger Stone, everyone, this was a professional sharpshooter. I don't care who. This is my theory.
When you first said that, I was kind of not believing it. But since then, a lot of people believe it. Gutfeld says it's a professional hit. It's just bizarre. How do you just disappear a person and a gun? And
I'll tell you why.
In a situation like that.
I'll tell you why. And I've been saying this all morning. The same people that killed President Kennedy, Bobby Kennedy, Martin Luther King, shot the president in Butler, and tried to do it again at the golf course are the same people who assassinated Charlie Kirk. It's the same people.
But let me just ask you, what facts make you say that?
It's not the facts of this. It's understanding Charlie Kirk and his importance and what he's done, and then how it went down.
That doesn't translate into a personal hit. A personal hit.
This was the same people that took for the same reason. They took let me explain. Okay, and Charlie Kirk is a Martin Luther King-like figure. He, Turning Point USA. See, I mean, we've all known who Charlie Kirk is for years, but I went to his event in Palm Beach 2 years ago. courtesy of Charlie Kirk himself is how I got in, okay? And I realized then how important he was. It was filled with thousands of kids, but the way I explain this is the cool kids were Republicans now. There's always been young Republicans, but they were few and they were the dorks with their, you know what I mean?
Yes.
They were like Ben Shapiro types.
I agree.
And he has turned the college kids and high school kids, because they work at high schools as well, into Republicans. The Democrat Party and the Republican establishment, the power base of the country of both parties, it's all gone now. And this is what they think. He's turned hundreds of thousands of people into Republicans in a demographic that no one thought was possible to do it in. And this is what the power, I believe they killed Martin Luther King, right? They killed Martin Luther King because he was leading this incredible civil rights movement. After Martin Luther King was killed, there's been con men and charlatans in the civil rights movement. There hasn't been a credible civil rights leader since Martin Luther King. Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Black Lives Matter, a bunch of charlatans, right, and con men with their potions. Give me money for this, and then the racism will be cured. You know, they destroyed the movement, and
yes.
the movement died in '68. Okay, Charlie Kirk, Steve, has it's a civil rights movement like Martin Luther King's, larger than Martin Luther King's was. And he's converted a demo young people into Republicans by the millions, which everyone thought was impossible. And this is what the powers that be think. President Trump is old. He's in his second term. He can't run again.
I don't know about that.
I'm not arguing that. I'm wearing a Trump 2028 hat. I'm talking about with the evildoers that killed the assassins of Charlie Kirk, the conspirators. This is what I'm giving you their mindset, not what I think. Okay, so why they did this? They tell themselves President Trump's almost 80. He's in his second term. He can't run again. They've got a good bench of people. JD, Hegseth, Marco.
But he's built an incredible group of people.
Charlie Kirk is the organizer. Second only to President Trump is Charlie Kirk and his movement. And without Charlie Kirk and his movement, the second MAGA president's not going to happen after Trump's out of office. This is a midterm and a presidential election strategy, and that's why they assassinated him. And the other thing is, there's no one who can take over this movement from Charlie Kirk. There is no one. He has a skill set, Steve. You and I are debaters. He's got that skill set, right? Very few people have that, right? Debating the people of the opposite side without effort. You and I are very good at it, and so is he. He also, but he's got this movie star charisma, Charlie Kirk, with young people that is electrifying. There's no one out there that's going to replace him. His movement, the turning point's not going to disappear tomorrow, but the impact of the movement's going to start to fade, is what they're betting on. So by the midterms of the next presidential election, we're not going to have this massive group of organizers towards that second MAGA president that we're going to have, whoever they are, after Trump's done. And that's why they assassinated him. There's no doubt about it. And the shooter, I know I don't talk about guns too much, but
how do you disappear in a crowd like that?
Well, if you're working for if you're British intelligence, CIA type person, that's easy.
Well,
when I say the same people that killed Kennedy did this, I'm being, the same people. It's that type of group behind this. And they can, who knows? And if
the most demoralizing part of this thing now is that they're not having a suspect or anything.
Well, if they get someone, it's an Oswald. It's a Patsy. And I know a lot about guns and shooting. Okay, I've been I mentioned this from time to time. I owned my first rifle when I was 12. I know a lot about shooting. To make a shot from that distance and hit in one, how many shots did Oswald have? 3? Was it 3 shots Oswald had?
Three or four.
And it was the final shot that hit the president. That was the final shot. To make a shot like this from a distance in one shot, in the original, it looks like it hit him in the heart, bounced off his bulletproof vest, and ricocheted to his neck. Okay? So to make a shot like that with just one, that's a professional sharpshooter. And even and I don't mean some guy that's been going to the outdoor range all his life. I'm talking about professional training, like a sniper training. That's like sniper. I mean.
Yeah, but the getaway and all that, there has to be more people involved than just one.
It's an operation. And they had a great distraction. That clown that the 6 police officers said was the shooter that they jumped on. The guy that said, I have the right to remain silent. I have the right, the old man they had on his knees gave him time to get away. I mean, even Nicholas Cruz in Parkland, they had him in a very short time. And I know there's a lot of stories now that they're looking at foreign powers and foreign agencies. There's no place whiter than Utah. If there was someone there who was a foreigner and not white, they would stand out. Okay? And if they find out it was a foreigner, it was farmed out. This was people in this country assassinated Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, based on everything I've just said to you and more.
Were there any developments overnight? I didn't
No.
actually fall asleep.
No developments. No developments.
How do you get rid of a rifle like that in a crowd?
Because you're it's professional.
More than one person involved in that.
This is a professional, organized group of conspirators who had a real sharpshooter person do this. This was even Roger Stone. This was a professional assassination, the kind that governments do. This was a professional operation. Now, when we get off the air, we're going to end at 9 today on the dot, because sometime after that there's going to be an FBI press conference. But this was done by people in this country. I don't care what they say. I mean, listen, Bobby Kennedy, who I want to hear from, I've seen him recently talk about the assassination of his father and his uncle. And his uncle was killed. They were killed for the same reason, pulling out of Vietnam. And I learned something from Bobby Kennedy. This was about 6-7 months ago, Steve, that Sirhan didn't kill him, didn't shoot him. Bobby Kennedy Jr. says his dad was assassinated by his own bodyguard, shot in the back. And Sirhan did not shoot Bobby Kennedy. He was shot by his own bodyguard, who was CIA, in the back. Bobby Kennedy said that. I saw him say it 6-7 months ago. In detail. He went through the whole thing. He did 2 interviews with Megyn Kelly, and he goes into all the details. And it was because he said my uncle was pulling out of Vietnam. The next day after the assassination, Lyndon Johnson escalated. He said my father was running on pulling out of Vietnam. They killed him. Nixon wins. Vietnam escalation. CIA killings. Same type of thing here with Charlie Kirk.
Breathtaking.
It's yeah. Let's take our break. We'll be right back. All right, we're in break. So.
All right.
You want to take some calls when we get back?
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't think they realize how popular Charlie Kirk was with people. That he was. Because they hate. They think everybody. They don't realize that they've created this MAGA martyr. They didn't realize that. They think he's a They thought he was like a Fred Phelps kind of person. I mean, think about it. He's one of.
Do you think anybody's life is in danger now?
There's nobody like Charlie Kirk. They assassinated him to stop his movement. That movement is so much bigger and more powerful than people realize. I realized that when I went to that event. It's one of the biggest political movements. It may be the biggest in history, most effective too. Hold on, I'm gonna put you on hold for a second.
Yes.
Hold on a second. Let me see what time we're coming back. We got a couple minutes till we're back.
Did MSNBC fire anybody yet?
They fired that one pundit. That one particular pundit, you know what I'm talking about? They fired him.
The ugly guy.
Yeah. The one that said it could have been but some of the other stuff I saw, they're so annoyed that they have to talk about it on CNN and MSNBC. I could see it in their faces.
I thought they wanted to talk about it.
No, they don't. They're annoyed. They don't. Hold on. Let me put you on hold for a second. See, Kash Patel is saying, I'll tell you when we get back.
Okay.
I'll tell you when we get back. Okay, we got 90 seconds. There's a couple things going on. I'll tell you when we get back.
Let's move into the other things.
Well, let me tell you what we got some stuff here from the FBI. I'll share it with you when we get back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put you on hold just because I'm answering all these phones. Hold on. We got about 80 people on hold. Hold on. Okay. Okay, we got 45 seconds. We'll be back.
Okay.
All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve's here. I'm Brian. Okay, got a couple things here. Okay, after the 9 o'clock hour, there's going to be an FBI press conference. Okay,
right.
The FBI got a couple things here. The FBI is reporting they have several leads on Charlie Kirk's assassin with possible ties with foreign intelligence, and
whatever that means.
Well, I'll tell you what. It could be, and I've seen this all morning. I've been up since about I have not slept. I've been up since about midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock. I don't know what time. I've lost track of the times. I've been up all night. I did a whole show at like 2:30 in the morning, Steve, on YouTube this morning. I mean, and this story has been around since the overnight hours. A private jet took off from a private airport nearby. About a 12-minute drive from the shooting. They say its radar and everything was turned off. And it took off about 20 minutes after the assassination. The tracker on the aircraft was turned off, which is illegal. And it took off from a local airport about 20 minutes after. A lot of people think it was the Muslims because he's been going after the Palestinians so much. It's hard to say, but this is the first time something like this has happened since Martin Luther King. There hasn't been anything like this since Martin Luther King. All right, do you want to take some calls?
Sure.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve and Brian. Remember what Maxine Waters said? Go get in their face and confront them, right? That's what she said, right? Mm. Well, this with Charlie Kirk, it wasn't working. Just getting in his face and confronting Charlie Kirk was not working.
Well, you say that, Mike. And I mean, look, who's that fat guy, the governor of Illinois, Pritzker? He was blaming Trump for this. Yeah. And did you see, Steve, Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas? They go up to Pocahontas to condemn it. She says, "Talk to your president." Or so. I mean, she just was like barking at the media, like, "How dare?"
What did she say to your president?
She was blaming Trump too. They asked Pocahontas about toning down rhetoric, and she says, "Go talk to your president." I mean, what the heck? She's a monster. See, these people on the left, CNN, MSNBC, these Democrats, they don't understand the significance of Charlie Kirk and how much he's loved by people. They don't get it. They think he's like a fringe Fred Phelps guy. They think he's the equivalent of David Duke, and he has a small cult following. They have no idea what they've done here. They just don't.
Isn't that contradicted by the fact that they thought he was significant enough?
Oh no, the conspirators know who he is. The people behind the assassin. I'm talking about like these Democrats in Congress that are saying stupid stuff, and these idiots on MSNBC that are saying stupid things. They don't understand who he was and how much he was loved and how big his following is. And I'll tell you, he's one of President Trump's best friends, Charlie Kirk, and two of his other closest and best friends, three of them, are investigating his assassination: Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. So, I mean, the people that are investigating this are tight with him. I mean, tight. All right, let's take some more of these calls. Hold on. Oh, I just lost him there. I just lost Steve. Hold on. Let me see if I can get Steve back. The phones are ringing off the hook. Now, I'm going to have to call Steve back during the break. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jim, Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Jim.
How you doing?
All right.
You hear what Obama said about this situation?
What was that?
Did you hear what Obama said about this?
Yeah, what did he say?
Well, just, it's not really politically motivated. Anyhow, I don't really care what he says.
Yeah.
What if the FBI would just check his monitors, check his phone, check his TV, check his computer?
All right. Okay. That's what I'm kind of talking about a little bit. Yeah, you got to, we don't want the liberals to be the only responsible ones. On the right, you have to be responsible too in these kind of times. Okay. So both sides need to be careful with the kind of things that they say. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'm trying to get Steve back. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. All right, let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Steve and Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, I can barely hear you, but I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Very sad, very sad day. I just wanted to say a little bit about Charlie. I think that, he was basically taking people out of the dark and bringing them into the light. And I think that God sent him to us for that purpose. And he was uniting all of these young kids in truth. He was kind of lighting a fire, into the youth of America. He's sort of a college mascot of truth, really. He's very popular and growing, and he's kind of like Johnny Appleseed in a way, planting the the seeds of truth, the little fires.
Yep.
And I think we'll reap what he sowed for many generations, because
I hope you're right.
Those little fires and that truth will echo through all those people he touched, all the college kids and the adults too. And I think with God's grace that that light will continue to grow and bring more and more people.
Yep.
Sort of to the shiny city on the hill. It's just he touched the world and made it a better place, and he'll continue to do so from heaven.
Yep.
It's just a sad day, but
it is.
Heaven received a warrior, and we lost a good friend.
Very true. All right. Thank you for your call. Yeah. That's very true. All right. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back. Okay, I got you. Yeah, hold on. We're in break. Hold on. Okay, you there, Steve?
Yeah, but I don't think I'm going to be after you come back.
Yeah, you will. You're there now. You'll be there. Yeah, I mean this and this sniper didn't leave anything behind. There's nothing on the roof.
Well, that's what makes you think that there must be somebody else involved.
Hold on. I'm reading this article here.
That's where another person would come in.
Got about 90 seconds.
But am I going to be there?
Yep, you're there now. You'll be there.
Well, I'm hearing you now.
Yeah, you're on, so you'll be there. Your line just went dead. And then I called you back, and it rang, but you didn't answer.
It's the same old thing.
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. I haven't seen one professional person not say this was not a professional hit. They've all said it's a professional hit. Every single person, every expert. Just over a minute, we'll be back. Every single one.
Doctor Linus, like it was a fact yesterday and last night on his show.
Yeah, because you did. Yeah, if you saw the video, it's I wouldn't be so confident if there were two shots, but one shot that good is it's an impossibility from that far away. You have to have experience. All right, Stan, we got 30 seconds.
If he loses you, he's going to call you right back.
Yep, all right, let's go. Stand by. All right, we are back. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here. I lost you, Steve. You're back. I have not seen a single professional say anything other than professional sniper, professional plot. I haven't seen, First off, if it was just some lone lunatic, they'd already have them, right?
Well, I mean, we're saying that in absence of another theory.
Yeah. All right, let's take some of these calls and see what they have to say. Oh, hold on. Are you with us, Steve? See, I lost Steve again. You there, Steve? All right, I got you.
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Here we go. You're on. I got you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yeah, you're back, Steve. You're on the air.
Hi,
Hi, Brian. It's Taj.
Hey, Taj.
Hey, this is. I'm still kind of in shock, trying to gather my thoughts about what's happened yesterday. But when JFK or Martin Luther King Jr. were assassinated, they had other things going on. Charlie Kirk was just about free speech, and this is like a direct attack on free speech. And I mean, he brought people together. I mean, and to have dialogues, it's so difficult to do that.
Well, I've been watching, Charlie Kirk. If you guys go back and I've watched him for years, okay, at these college events. It's updated for 2025. But the way that he runs his movement is exactly like Martin Luther King and Gandhi. Peaceful, nonviolence, just talking.
Yes. Yes.
But look at the people that they shot Gandhi. They shot Martin Luther King, and they shot Charlie Kirk, and they basically just talked and sat in, did the sit-ins and stuff, and so to the liberals, words are weapons, to the liberals.
Right, and when they're losing the situation, then they get violent, which is all the time. Because all these people that have been assassinated have all been Democrats, the ones that have been the purveyors of it. All the presidents that have been assassinated, there's some different. They can't talk it out, can't have a dialogue. It has to be their way, or we're going to shoot you dead. I'm just so upset. And the video of that, and then the video of the woman on the subway when the guy just saying, "I got me a white woman, I got me a white." It's like it just.
By the way, I haven't been able to confirm that part of the story.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. No, I looked over that video about the why. I don't. No,
it's not a confirmed part of the story.
No, that's fake. That's fake.
But to have nobody around to even help, and people get in shock and they don't know what to do and they freeze. But this is like I'm just like running at a loss for words.
All right, Taj, take care. Yeah, I'll tell you though, his bodyguards. I saw the video of them carrying him to the SUV. They were military guys, and they carried. It was very dramatic. They picked him up, and they carried. There were like 6, 8 of them. They carried him right to the SUV, and there was a uniformed police officer who was walking backwards. He had his back to the guys carrying him with his pistol drawn, holding it to the crowd, keeping them back. It was very dramatic. I've never seen anything like it. But I think Charlie was gone in the chair when I saw the video. I told you, I found out from you. I was getting ready to do my podcast, and the phone rang. It was you, and you said they shot Charlie Kirk. I pulled it up right away. I told you he's gone. But then the Associated Press reported like 20, 30 minutes later that he was in surgery, that they're at the hospital, and that he's okay.
But that was a false report. We knew better by then.
Well, I was praying. I was hoping the prayers worked, but I wish
I would. The question is, I mean, I hate to say this, but somebody's got to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm afraid to let the president out of the White House.
I know he's going to the Yankees game. I don't like it.
But on the other hand, the president, he's not going to withdraw like a turtle in a situation like this.
Well, something's up. Listen, Steve, yesterday, I was talking about this yesterday. You weren't with us yesterday. You were off yesterday. The night before last, President Trump went out to dinner in D.C. with the Vice President, the Secretary of State, and
I saw
the Secretary of War.
I saw the footage on that.
It was unannounced. They just did it, showed up unannounced, and those pink ladies were there. Code Pink ladies were inside the restaurant. An arm reach from the president. There was a major security breach with that. Somebody leaked out that the president was on his way there to this unplanned, unannounced thing. And there was a major security. Somebody leaked that out the night before last. And and when you have the president, the vice president, the Secretary of State, and the War Secretary, that's the whole line of succession, except for the Speaker. And major security breach, and they just moved Barron to the White House from New York. So there's something, you know what I mean? So there's been an elevated threat level. And after what happened yesterday, I mean, I just, I'm sick about the whole thing. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe that this is happening. Yeah, yeah. You know, we may never get the assassin. You know, we may never. I hope we do, but I'm trying to remember an incident where one of these things happened and we went, I mean, we're like 18 hours later, 16 hours. I'm a little confused. I think it was around 3 p.m. East Coast time. So we're like 15 hours later or so, and they don't even have a photo. We'll find out what happens in this press conference later. But
maybe.
We'll find out what they have. And I would like to see Kash Patel and Bongino lead these press conferences. Not these no-names that we don't know. I really, you know, it's almost like they've been told to stay off TV, those guys. You know? I think it would help to have them there with the Attorney General. This is the most high-profile assassination in this country, I'm trying to think, since Martin Luther King, of anybody. Right? I mean, there's been people shot. There's been attempts. They shot the president.
Do you remember what happened after the Martin Luther King shooting? Do you remember the process that unfolded after that?
No, I was born 3 years after that. I wasn't alive yet. My parents were, you know,
I mean, I remember my recollections are vague, but I remember something that James Earl Ray ended up I remember he received some money they couldn't account for, and he ended up traveling in Europe.
They caught him. He was arrested. James Earl Ray, if I may be wrong about this, but I think he was arrested in Europe. And I was telling this to you yesterday. I saw a bit of a jailhouse interview with James Earl Ray, and not long before he died. And I couldn't believe how ignorant of a person he was. He was, I can't explain it. He was like the guys in Deliverance, you know? And I thought,
that's pretty vivid.
And I'm like, this guy did this and then escaped to Europe. Give me a freaking break. Another patsy.
Yeah, it didn't make sense, but it didn't happen fast, as I recall. But again, my recollection is.
Well, I wasn't alive yet. I'll look into it and I'll get back up to speed on that. I mean, I haven't thought about these things in a while. But, you know, see, Martin Luther King was assassinated by the same people that killed the Kennedys and Charlie Kirk because they've all were leading these movements. The civil rights movement of Martin Luther King was scaring the hell out of the establishment of the day, the Democrats in particular. You know, they considered it like a slave uprising. And like I was telling you earlier, the civil rights movement, there never was a credible person after Martin Luther King. Never. And I know we've got good people that are conservative in this country, but I don't see any, you know, see, Turning Point's a youth organization. So you can't take someone old. It's got to be someone youthful, charismatic, you know, articulate.
Well, your suggestion was good. Don Jr.
Don Jr.'s on the old side for it. He and I are the same age, you know. But he's the only person that I could see taking over.
But he's got the energy.
Yeah, and he's got the other skill sets. He's got the charisma. He can debate, you know. Yeah. You know, he's the only person that I could see they could take over and keep it going, you know. But, you know, I was talking like I know this is a little different in a lot of ways, but JFK Jr. had that George magazine, and when he died, the magazine folded because the magazine was JFK Jr. So the question is Turning Point Charlie Kirk? I know there's a lot of famous people connected to it, but they're all supporting cast. You know what I mean? They're all bit players in comparison. You know what I mean? That it factor.
Yeah.
You know, and none of these people have it except for Don Jr. except for Don Jr. But who want after this? Who wants that job?
That's the point.
You know, everybody has kids and family and stuff. I mean, who want? You know, it's it's.
And I wonder how the president would feel in that situation if he would run any risks.
Well, listen, look what Jackie Kennedy did after Bobby Kennedy was killed. That's why she married Onassis, was to get away. Remember that famous quote? They're killing Kennedys, and she wanted to get her son away. She went over to Greece with Onassis, because she felt, and it was probably a smart move. And then JFK Jr. did himself in years later, but all right. Listen, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to break for the gold report, and we will come back. And, you know what, Steve? Why don't we stay after the top of the hour online and take calls still? After 9 o'clock, do you want to stick with me on that or not?
Sure.
Okay. So if you're on hold, we're going to, after the gold report, we're going to go back to the calls. But if we don't get to you, hang in there. We're going to continue taking the calls after 9 a.m. just online for the YouTube audience. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. We'll be back with your calls after this. I'm going to put you on hold, Steve, to get William. Hey there. Hold on. Okay. Steve, you there? Hello? Hello? Steve? Hey, hold on. Okay. Steve, you there?
Yeah,
okay,
I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to conference in William. Hold on. William?
Yes.
Okay, stand by. All right, we are back. And it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the morning gold and precious metals report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Metals looking very stable and nice gains yesterday on gold after trading in a range of 36.18 on the low, kind of testing that $3,600 number and then going back up as high as 36.58. Closing out the day up $14.90 at $3,639.20 the ounce. Silver gained 26 cents yesterday, closing at 41.06, while platinum was up $21 at $1,391, and palladium gained $37 at $11.76. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of 36.14 all the way up to 36.48. Right now, we're at 36.36, $3,636 the ounce. It's down $3.20. Silver's up 4 cents at $41.10 the ounce. Platinum's down $1 at $1,390, and palladium is up $14 at $1,190. So the markets are doing very well, very stable considering the gains that we've had. This is a market that just is poised to still go much higher.
Yeah, and remember, William Youngerman doesn't just sell the metals, they also buy them. So if you have anything made of the metals, old jewelry, broken jewelry, out-of-date jewelry, or the bullion, bars, coins, or anything made of the metals, that you can take them over to William Youngerman's. He opens up at 10 a.m. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can also call toll-free 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and online, WilliamYungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman will finish out the week tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Take care. All right, you back with us, Steve?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, let's take some calls, and we are short on time, so those of you on hold, if we don't get to you, hang in there. We're going to continue.
What is the plan? What is the plan at 9 o'clock? You're going to break for the press conference?
We'll it's not starting right at 9. So after the top of the hour, we'll continue and we'll take calls for a few. A lot of people have been on hold for a long time, so I want to try to get everyone in that we can. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Ricochet.
Yes.
I don't know where to begin.
I think you might need to pick a new CB handle.
Right. I want to say thank you first of all to 4 very important people. One, of course, is God, who gave us a great person like Charlie, and the other 3, his wife and his 2 children, for a sheriff's person, because he had to leave home a lot. And they knew that his work was important enough to share him with us.
Yeah.
Charlie in no way was like or as good as Christ will be, but he walked this earth very Christ-like. And not only did he preach from God's word, but even his political ideology was all rooted in God's word, his love, his grace, his companion, his compassion, and he always asked the broken to come to the front of the line first.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's a very sad day for us, but it's a very beautiful day at the same time because God has actually got one of his angels back. And his work is not done. I think we are about to see Charlie's spirit sweep across this nation in ways that we haven't really thought of yet.
Yep.
And I'm taking this one pretty hard. I'm 60. I've been around a lot. I've seen a lot of death, but this one's hit me pretty hard.
It is.
And
I mean,
we've got a
really bad phone connection with you, but I know you've been on hold a long time, so maybe you could speak closer to the phone.
One last thing I'd like to say is I feel very saddened for the Democrats and the LeeZeps because they missed something great.
Yep.
And they'll never get to see it, but I just want to
All right.
thank you to everybody.
Well, thank you. I'm going to let you go because I heard you, but your connection's really poor, so I'm going to let you run. But thank you for the call. I'll monitor. If the press conference comes on, I'll let you guys know. We'll cut, but it's not there yet. So if you're on hold, we will continue after the top of the hour for a bit. Steve and I taking your calls at 1-888-465-2631. I think even in MAGA circles, I think all of us are shocked at how affected we are by this. And if we're surprised at how much it's affecting us, imagine the left's shock at how much it's affecting us in the country. They just didn't know. And we're going to have a lot of press events with President Trump today because it's 9/11, Steve, and he can't cancel.
Well, it remains to be seen what kind of schedule they're going to make for him.
Well, with the president, there's a bunch of security that Charlie didn't have. I was surprised they only had like maybe 6 police officers in that whole joint, and Charlie had his bodyguards, but that was it. They had just the campus police, and they've got 8 officers. That's it, and that may include the chief. That's crazy with a crowd that size. But the thing about it is there were at least 2,000 students there. They all were recording and the thing on their cameras because it was a news event that they were at. The lack of video footage, which I really have seen hardly anything, is shocking to me. I am just in complete shock because it's hard for me to believe that nothing else was caught other than those couple of poor videos of the man in black from far away on the roof. All right, let's take Let's take some more of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
Hi, this is Jessica. Brian, how are you?
All right, Jessica.
Hey, Jessica. We're. Hi, how you doing, Stephen? I am crushed, obviously. This is a very sad day. I believe that it was a terrorist act because today is 9/11, and they wanted to hurt us again, especially the conservative movement, especially him. They know that Charlie Kirk has been working really hard with our youth. And if you think about it, Brian, our youth is the one that has been completely brainwashed by these universities and this crazy ideology, which is a communism.
Yeah.
And I believe that turning point was and is the point where our youth began to wake up to the lies of the Democratic Party and the lies of the communist movement that is horrific, it's crazy, and it's not acceptable for our youth. So I believe that Charlie Kirk's legacy will move on, will go on. Turning point was and is a turning point for a lot of people today. And I hope and I pray that one guy from that organization comes up and rises up and continues with Charlie Kirk's legacy and the job that he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe that if Turning Point disappears, then evil will win. And we cannot allow for evil to win. Mm-hmm. We need to continue working. We need to continue spreading the word that he was spreading.
I'll tell you, with these
Turning Point alive.
You made a couple things. You made a very good point that I had not considered. That you're saying you think this was an this was an Islamic assassination because of 9/11.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I hadn't thought about it that way.
In recent days, Charlie Kirk has been very open about the Muslims, in our country. They have been infiltrated through the north, through the south. And with Mondani, New York, I don't know if you've seen Charlie Kirk's video recently where he was attacking Mondani in New York.
Yep.
And I believe that this was it. This was part of it. And I hope that the FBI does the job that needs to be done and that we are told who did this. Because we know who did it. We just want to make sure. We just want to see that they're doing the job and arrest these people. Because I know that it was them. I know. And let me just to close this, Brian and Steve, Charlie Kirk was asked if he was ever going to run for office. And he said no, because my job is to spread the word of Jesus, to spread the word of the President Trump, his policies, and to make sure that I help J.D. Vance become president in 2028. That's what he said. His job was going to be that. And we need to continue helping him with that. That's my point. And let's pray for Charlie. Let's pray for his wife, his 2 kids, and let's pray for our nation.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Take care. Yeah, I mean, she made some good points there. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
Sanford.
Sanford, go ahead.
I know I think I know what you mean, but it's coming across different to me when you say it's the same people. The prior 3 assassinations were done from our government, inside our government.
That's right.
I believe this was done outside the government by the Democrats, and I think that's what you mean to say. But it's not just, to me, it's not the same. This was a different type of assassination. Our government, I think, was not involved under the Trump administration, Radcliffe and Patel's administration. So I know what you mean. So I'm not being critical, but I think it's just coming across to me different.
Well, then you're not listening. You think if you think I said that, you're high. I mean, come on. Yeah, I think you know what I mean. I'm not going to be specific. I'm being listen. I'm being purposefully vague.
Because the Democrats were involved in all 3 of those. And this one too. This one more so the Democrats.
The Kennedy assassinations and Martin Luther King was the deep state, all three of them, and with the military-industrial complex. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Hoover was alive in '68.
But anyways, this is a great program you had today. I got to tell you, it was very, very good.
I hate to describe. I don't want to describe it that way. This was, you didn't hear the beginning. Well, I could hardly go on the air this morning. The beginning of the show was. I mean, I do appreciate that. And you guys I would not have been able to get through the show without the callers. The first hour and a half of the show, I mean, I was most difficult I've ever had. On the air. All right, let's take another call or two. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are
Brian,
you?
What's up?
Well, I tell you, this is one of the saddest days that I can recount ever. One of the things they talked about when President Kennedy was assassinated was the lost potential. Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, and his intellect, charisma, energy, that X factor that you talked about, very few people have that in the public eye. He was what you call just the natural and naturally talented. And the thing about Charlie Kirk, you think of the lost potential. I personally believe that Charlie Kirk, down the road, he's only 31 years old, would have been making a run for the presidency of this great constitutional.
Well, I know this. We're almost out of time, but we're going to continue the show after 9 o'clock, just online on YouTube. So don't go anywhere. I'll keep you on, and the rest of you guys stand by. I've expanded the show to a 4-hour show about a month ago.
Yes.
Most days I do 4 hours when I can.
We could talk about this all day. It's such a
But if you got more to say, I'll hang you over. Do you want to stay over? Or are you done?
Yes, I'll stay over. I'll stay over if I could.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now listen. I want to say this. The phones have been very busy. So we've only gotten 2 liberal monsters who called in today. So those of you in the liberal audience that have not acted like these liberals I've seen online and on MSNBC, I want to commend you for not doing that today, because I'm very pleasantly surprised that none of that has happened. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Tomorrow's Friday. It's normally Open Phone Friday. We'll have to see where the news is on this. We may suspend open phones tomorrow, depending on the news. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane's been here. See you then. All right, we're clear. All right, let's go. All right, thanks for holding. All right, go on.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for letting me stay on the show there, Brian.
You still with us, Steve? Steve, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, go ahead.
I saw Charlie, I think, about a month ago. I don't know if this was at Oxford, England, or whatever. He's having, again, a group of the young college students and that. And his wit and his ability to talk extemporaneously, his connection with the people.
Yes.
I don't remember anybody with this ability that he had. And again, 31 years old, and to start a movement from nothing.
Let me tell you, you're right. Well, I was talking earlier. The only other person today in that movement was Candace Owens, and then she lost her mind. So she can't. We can't use Candace anymore. But Steve, because I know it's been a long time, but I'm guessing today is kind of how it was in the country the day after President Kennedy was killed. I think the mood of the country is very similar to that. And I learned something.
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, President Kennedy was still a president.
Kennedy was president, but it was also such a shock that the president was assassinated.
Yeah.
And I think Charlie Kirk really didn't hold political office in that, but it was just him being assassinated, his personality, his persona that he had, and
it feels. I'll tell you. You know what it feels like to me? They couldn't get Trump and Butler. They couldn't get him at the golf course, so they got Charlie.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me.
Yeah. It does. It does. Well, I think he would have been converted into being a political candidate, and his potential in that area would have been absolutely incredible. And I think they thought, well, we're going to take down the future. We take Charlie down. But I think it may backfire. I think this may be a unifying and rallying point for the people, and especially the MAGA and Republican Party.
It's going to be a measure like, what do you think these hags on The View are going to do today? Are they going to act like decent human beings or pretend?
They're so bad, these people, that, one thing that's drawing these people out, we're really seeing these people what they're all about. On a day
did MSNBC fire that jerk that made that
the pundit? They fired the pundit, but not that Katie Tur witch that was saying similar things. They fired the pundit.
Yeah.
Did he make any statements in leaving?
Not that I've seen.
Wow. Well, this legacy media, the show, all these shows that are just these far whacked out left wing shows, maybe this will be the end of them. But Charlie Kirk was, he's the one, the guy. Whenever he's on television or you see him speak, you made sure you saw it, or you watched the tape of it, and his connection with it's not a good, but he was the rock star of the future for the Republican Party. He was the guy.
He is the biggest conservative organizer we've ever had, next to Trump. Yeah. And no matter who it is, Pat Robertson, all of them. But Steve, this is something I learned from Bob Grant. Okay, mm-hmm. Bob Grant there's a documentary about the history of talk radio and they interview Bob Grant in it, and he talked about how he got famous. And you worked with him back then, and he was the sports guy at the station you worked at with Joe Pine, right?
Wow, right.
And Bob Grant, Joe Pine that you worked with then was a big Republican. Everybody thinks Rush was the first big radio. Joe Pine was the first big Republican on syndicated radio, and he was very anti. This is what Bob Grant said. I wasn't there. You were, but Bob Grant said that Joe Pine was anti-Kennedy. Is that accurate? You remember, Steve?
Anti-Kennedy?
Yeah, because he was a...
doesn't sound familiar to me.
Well, would Bob... Well, maybe it's not true, but what Bob Grant said is that he was so anti-Kennedy and so Republican that they took Joe Pine off the air for a while after the Kennedy assassination.
Wow. Oh, that's a different question.
Oh, okay. And Bob Grant filled in for him, and that's how he got big in radio.
Yes, that's true. Wow. After the Kennedy assassination, we canceled taping the television. See, with Pine, we had both a nationally syndicated television show and a nationally syndicated interview-type
radio.
Wow.
And
Steve, you worked for some of the greats. I mean, my goodness.
We did no taping after Kennedy's death because the country was too inflamed.
Well, what Bob Grant said was the syndicators or whatever were afraid that people would blame Joe Pine for the assassination, so they took him off the air for a while. And I don't know how.
Wow. That's folks at Heart West was the production.
Yeah. So, there's some similar things here with this CNN, MSNBC, The View. These people are poison people on a good day. And the way that they were behaving last night on CNN and MSNBC was so far over the line of good taste, I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Yeah. We talk about the other side having...
The Fox hosts were all suggesting that guy on MSNBC be fired.
Yeah, they fired him.
They were actively lobbying for it on their shows last night.
I saw that with Laura Ingraham.
One thing we see, the left has nobody like a Charlie Kirk. With that charisma and intellect, they have nobody.
Nope.
I mean, the people they put on television is pathetic. Charlie Kirk is one of those guys that he was blessed with incredible talent and incredible future. And I think a lot of that is where the sadness is really coming from. But the left has nobody. No.
All right.
But,
well, I'm gonna
Charlie had everything.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging over. Let's take a couple more calls. I want to sign off because after 4 hours, I'm starting to need a break. But let's take another call or two. Let's see here. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once.
This is Matt from Georgia.
All right, Matt. You're on the air, Matt.
All right. I want to start off by saying, I mean, no disrespect to you at all, but I've never seen your show. I've never watched before. I just happened to be scrolling through the shorts, and I found your live stream, and I felt compelled to call because I feel like we're at a breaking point in this country, and it's time for all of us to stand up and fight these demons that are taking...
All right. Well, watch a little bit longer, and you'll find we're a little more responsible. Before he says something he shouldn't say. You know, the right have to be responsible too, guys, okay? Not just the left. All right. We'll sign off for today, but those of you that are hanging in there, you can call another time. And, of course, we'll be back tomorrow morning at 6. And you guys, you know me, I'll be on YouTube later today after we get some more information. All right, Steve, I will talk to you later.
Yeah, call me when you get off the air.
I will. All right, take care. Take care. I want to thank everyone that has been calling in today, because I would not have been able to get through this show without you guys. Because if you saw the beginning of the show, I was really upset, and I did not want to go on the air today, but I had to. You know, the show must go on, even in these trying times. And you guys that had called in today, for the most part, there were a couple of people that were not, but for the most part, even the liberals were in control today. So I got to give them their due for that. But then again, maybe it's just because the phones have been so busy they couldn't get through. You know what I mean? Because the phones have been pretty busy today. I will be back this afternoon live taking calls when we have more information. And those of you that are new to me, that have just found me today, welcome to the program. I host with Steve Kane. We have a morning radio show and morning drive. And when I'm on the radio, I'm live streaming here on YouTube. And in the afternoons, I live stream my podcast right here on this YouTube channel. And I always am taking live calls when I'm in the studio. From everyone, no matter your political background. If you agree or disagree, you're welcome to call in, and we do that every day. So if you're new, welcome, subscribe to the program, and I look forward to talking to you guys again in the future. All right, guys, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.